He's a great fighter.
You think he's a great fighter? But what do they think? What do you think about them comparing him to you? I mean, you're a legend, my friend.
Well, he'll be one too if he keeps fighting.
Oh, okay.
So why I think that is I've never seen anyone who was as big as this kid move as well as he does. For you to be that big, like 6'5", 250 pounds at only 20 years old, to move that well on your feet, to have
talents are so crazy, especially at this age, okay? It is so cool. What is he, 20, 21? And you know, he's starting to get compared to Mike Tyson as far as his trajectory.
Mike Tyson praised Moses Itauma with powerful words, highlighting how he stands apart from today's generation of fighters. Unlike many modern boxers, Itauma possesses raw hunger, unwavering focus, and the kind of determination that defines a true champion. Tyson emphasized that lasting greatness comes through consistency, discipline, and learning from losses with dignity. With these qualities, Itauma is not only already turning heads in the heavyweight division, but is also destined to rise above his peers and carve his place in history as a future legend of boxing.
But if you listen, this is the thing. It has nothing to do with you losing. It depends on how you lose. You lose spectacularly, hey, they're gonna always use you. Depends on how you lose. You can lose and win at the same time.
Yeah, your stock can go up.
Yeah.
Some people be like, "Oh, you undefeated. You don't know. You don't understand." It's like, no, I do understand.
Yes, you do understand.
I came out on top, but I took the risk, and I had some close ones. But I also remember my last loss and how that made me feel, which made me not want to, lose again. And I just think that, given the climate of the game now with the social, like, you get crucified in boxing if you lose a fight.
Because they don't, the people that watch boxing now don't understand boxing. They look at it from a physical perspective.
I agree with that.
They don't understand it at all.
Yeah. Man, Cuss is grooming you and prepping you. And I saw a quote from him that thing almost brought me to tears. He said, at his age, he said, how do you stay alive? What's your motivation? He said, I'm alive because Mike gives me hope to stay alive. I have a reason with Mike here.
Ariel Helwani, one of the most respected voices in combat sports media, has praised Moses Itauma for achieving what few have done at such a young age. At 20 years old, Itauma already holds recognition as one of the most promising heavyweight prospects in the world. Helwani points out that Itauma could realistically break Tyson's record of being the youngest heavyweight champion, a feat that has stood as a benchmark of youthful greatness in boxing. This is not mere hype. It is rooted in Itauma's consistent rise, his flawless performances, and his growing reputation within the sport. When veterans and analysts alike acknowledge his potential, it shows that Itauma's trajectory is not just about promise, but about genuine progress. The suggestion that he may surpass Tyson's record demonstrates how seriously the boxing world takes his talent.
Outside the boxing, but he's back. He's got his new fight is March the 1st in Bournemouth. So yeah, he's rolling the dice again. He's just had a little boy, so he took some time out.
Okay. When did you start to really feel like this could be a career, that you had a special gift? How soon into that, training journey did you start to realize, like, oh wow, this is what they're saying about me is different?
It's after I sparred Lawrence Okoli, my trainer at the time. He messaged me saying that what you've done today was crazy, unbelievable. If you stick at it, you can be one of the greatest boxers to live, heavyweight, sorry. And then I was like, okay, I'm not bad, but at this point, I'm a 2-time European gold medalist, 2-time national champion, but I still didn't think I was like,
What sets Moses Itauma apart from his peers is not only his youth, but also the astonishing way he moves in the ring. Analysts observing his recent performances have been quick to point out the rare combination of speed and agility he possesses. At heavyweight, fighters are usually celebrated for their power and size, not for their nimble footwork or quick reflexes. Itauma, however, breaks this mold. At just 20, he already displays fluid movements more commonly seen in lighter weight divisions. His footwork allows him to cut angles with ease, evade punches, and set up powerful counters that keep opponents off balance. The contrast between his size and his athleticism is what excites experts the most. It suggests that Itauma is not just a heavy hitter, but a complete fighter, capable of outmaneuvering even seasoned heavyweights.
As to why I think that is I've never seen anyone who was as big as this kid move as well as he does. For you to be that big, like 6'5", 250 pounds at only 20 years old, to move that well on your feet, to have that level of speed and power, when have we ever seen that before in the history of boxing? ever. In the last 30 years even, you look at Lennox Lewis, he didn't fucking move like that for the weight. No way. As good as he was, he didn't move like that. AJ, hell of an athlete, he didn't move like that. Tyson Fury was a good mover for a big bloke. He doesn't move like that. He hasn't got that explosive speed. We're witnessing something so fucking special here. This is the most exciting combat sports athlete, any sport, MMA, boxing, whatever you want to talk about, in the world. And he's 20 years old. It's unbelievable. And I get that a lot of people have doubted him because it's hard to believe that guys who you've respected for the last 15 years can get in a boxing ring against a 20-year-old kid and get the shit beaten out of them. And that emotional connection will make you want to, oh, maybe this will happen. Oh, Dillian Whyte, he's training hard, he looks in shape. No. It doesn't matter what version of Dillian Whyte shows up. Dillian Whyte could go back through his entire fucking career and pick any version of himself out. You're getting smoked by Moses Itauma because the level difference, it's fucking huge. That's why I only gave him 2 rounds. And I respect Dillian Whyte. I think he is a tough guy. He has had a good career, but just look at the way Dillian Whyte moves, man, and look at the way Moses Itauma moves. This was a really easy one to predict, actually. People are comparing him to Mike Tyson. It's a hell of a compliment.
The comparison made by Showbiz the Adult reflects the magnitude of Moses Itauma's performance against Dillian Whyte. Just as skeptics once doubted Tyson before he dismantled Michael Spinks in under 2 minutes, many wondered whether Itauma was ready to handle an opponent of Whyte's stature. The fight ended with a resounding answer. Itauma showcased devastating power, composure, and ruthlessness that immediately reminded observers of Tyson's breakthrough moment. The narrative was almost identical, a young fighter under scrutiny silencing critics in emphatic fashion. The parallel drawn between the two fights underscores how Itauma's knockout victory was not just another win. It was a statement that demanded respect and changed the conversation around his career.
Experience bout and stuff like that. And, you know, we never see Moses in this situation, something like that. And I responded by saying, this is going to be Mike Tyson Spinks. Remember that?
Moses will get hit so hard the first. He going to be gun shy for the rest of the fight, like Ryan versus Rolly. It's different level. He ain't been tested. That's what he said about. I remember those exact words when Iron Mike Tyson fought Michael Spinks. They said Mike Tyson never been in a ring with somebody of the caliber of Spinks. I'll never forget. So let's see.
And damn it, how identical this shit is just mind-blowing. Check this out.
Dillian Whyte looks a little big-eyed for me. He looks a little nervous for me, man. You gotta make 5 rounds. You looking down and shit. He looked like Michael Spinks, man.
When comparisons to Mike Tyson first emerged around Moses Itauma, it was both flattering and burdensome. Tyson remains one of the most iconic heavyweights in history, a man who dominated his era with unmatched ferocity and youthful brilliance. Yet it has been clear, he does not wish to become the next Tyson merely. Instead, he has emphasized the importance of building his own recognition and legacy, much like Anthony Joshua and other modern fighters who carved their own unique paths. The remark highlights his maturity. At just 20 years old, Itauma understands that true greatness is not found in imitation, but in creating a name that stands on its own. His desire to be remembered as Moses Itauma, rather than a shadow of Tyson, reflects a mindset that separates future champions from those who fade under the pressure of lofty comparisons.
It's a really good thing, though, when people are talking about you and people are, talking about you being maybe the next youngest world heavyweight champion after Mike Tyson, trying to break that record. You're 19 years of age now. Talking about your last performance, Marius Wack, big guy, strong guy, been in there, seen it, done it, boxed everyone, was expected to give you rounds. You went in there and took him apart in 2, right? So them expectations are obviously going to be talked about. People are obviously going to do that and compare you with the likes of Mike Tyson, and that is a good thing. And I think the champions feed off that sort of stuff, and that's what you do. You don't let the pressure get you, but you deliver in your performances.
Yeah, like do you know what? I've kind of put myself with kind of making the comparison with me and Mike Tyson with completely different styles or whatnot, but I never really wanted to compare to no one. I kind of want to set my own path, like I said multiple times. Like, obviously, Joshua, Fury, Usyk, Tyson, all them, they've set their own path, so I want to set my own.
I think it's the age thing, isn't it? With the Mike Tyson thing, where he become the youngest world heavyweight champion, 20 years of age and X amount of months, whatever that was. You're 19. You put yourself in a position now that Frank Warren was on here talking about you boxing Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clark. He said, tomorrow, now, that's the sort of level he sees
Of
you at.
course, if you look at my last fight, obviously that's where they all get their confidence from.
Ade Oladipo echoed a sentiment that has resonated with many in the boxing world. Not every fighter needs to go through endless tests to prove their worth. Some display championship qualities long before belts are put around their waists. Itauma's dominant showing against Dillian Whyte was exactly that kind of moment. Instead of needing a grueling back and forth to validate his ability, Itauma demonstrated in a single night that he has the potential of a champion. The clarity of his performance, the speed, the timing, the composure, spoke louder than any drawn-out battle could. Oladipo's observation reflects how Itauma has shifted perspectives. He has made believers out of skeptics and shown that sometimes the evidence of greatness is self-explanatory.
He is a heavyweight that moves like a lightweight. Sorry, a light heavyweight. Certainly doesn't move like a lightweight, but a light heavyweight. He just darts in and out so quickly. Like, nothing about him physically looks 240 pounds. Bear in mind, that's the same weight as Daniel Dubois. He's the same height. It's only 10 pounds less than AJ. It's the same height as Dillian Whyte. I'm sorry, same weight as Dillian Whyte. But you look at his frame, he doesn't look that heavy. It's almost like he's very, I don't know, maybe a lot of that weight's in his legs, but he seems to move and glide around the ring so freely. So yeah, look, I'm very excited about him. I thought that if I watched it again, because obviously I made the video yesterday immediately after watching the fight, so I was very high. And I thought, okay, let me watch it again and maybe calm down a little bit. If anything, I've got higher. If anything, I've gone higher. I think he's incredible. I was at the airport with Lee Wood. And Lee Wood, obviously trained by Ben Davis, and Lee Wood sees him train all the time. And he was like, dude, I'm not surprised. Like, I see this guy train all the time. I see what he does. I see who he spars. And sometimes you got to listen to those people. Again, we're not privy to any of that. All we see is a couple of rounds or 2 minutes on fight night. We don't see anything else, where people like Lee see it week in, week out. So, look, I think he's incredible. Let's not waste no time. I've already wasted, 5 minutes or so. Let's talk about potential opponents. And this doesn't include, again, the top 3 guys. So this doesn't include Alexander Usyk. I'll tell you who it doesn't include. It doesn't include Alexander Usyk.
Despite the undeniable nature of Itauma's victory, some detractors have attempted to minimize his achievement by attributing it to Dillian Whyte's supposed injury. Analysts have pushed back against this narrative, pointing out that Whyte looked healthy, composed, and focused during his ring walk. To suggest that Itauma's win was due to anything other than his skill and power undermines the courage and execution he displayed. This tension reflects a common theme in boxing. When a young fighter rises quickly, critics often search for excuses to discredit their success. Yet, Itauma's display of strength, timing, and fearlessness makes it clear that he deserves recognition. The conversation around potential injuries only highlights the difficulty of giving credit to emerging stars, but Itauma's performance left little room for doubt about his legitimacy.
Discuss. There's always and often rumors after a fight when a fighter gets blown out there early that there's some kind of injury. But what really intrigued me building up to this fight, and on the live stream, people who were seeing me, I was kind of confused by it, was why this has become a 10-rounder suddenly. I thought this was a 12-round fight. It was for various international belts and all that kind of stuff. I didn't see any reason why this wouldn't be a 12-rounder, especially when it's a pay-per-view main event. And I assumed that the reduction to 10 rounds indicated that there may have been an injury to Itauma with him being the A side, but then seeing the fact that Dillian Whyte walked second to the ring tells me he maybe had a bit more negotiating power in this than I first thought, which then leads me to believe that potentially this rumor of him having an injury is actually true, and he wanted to reduce it to 10 rounds because of some sort of pre-fight issue. Now look, again, we don't really know if there was an issue with Whyte, but he did look a bit sort of tender and he walked to the ring somewhat gingerly. I didn't read anything into that because I wasn't sure if he was just relaxed. But look, some people are saying he was injured. Sonny Edwards has posted that on Instagram. Sonny Edwards is obviously someone more in the know than I will ever be in terms of having his finger on the button, hearing rumors and all that kind of stuff. So I'm inclined to believe there may be some truth to it. But at the same time, once again, I want to reiterate, I always predicted Itauma to win this fight. I just didn't think he'd do it as quickly as he did. This might explain why Dillian Whyte couldn't even last a few rounds. But at the same time, when I watch back those tactical details that I just showed you, that's stuff Dillian Whyte's always done. That's nothing to do with a leg injury. And I fully believe that Itauma's work in there was smart. It was an executed game plan. And would a Dillian Whyte with a leg injury have behaved any differently? Or sorry, with or without a leg injury behaved any differently? I don't think so. I think that the issue with Whyte is, and the reason he couldn't take him rounds, and I texted Jamie, me and Jamie were texting afterwards from Boxing Live. And I said to him, the problem with Whyte is his weaknesses are too well documented. That's why he was not able to go as long as a Balogun, in my opinion. Everybody knows what Dillian Whyte's issues are. I suppose that I just felt he could get in there and survive a bit longer, fight very, very reserved and cautious, and take him rounds and then try and get him to make mistakes. But he couldn't even do that. And I think the biggest thing I've learned from this is that Itauma can execute under pressure. And because there was pressure in this fight, don't get me wrong. Now, he said after the fight that the Balogun fight was actually more pressure for him because he was supposed to win that so easily. Whereas with this, he saw it as a genuine contest. He felt more relaxed. To me, that's fine. You can think that way if you want. But to me, there was more pressure in this fight.
The testimony of Mark Tibbs, Dillian Whyte's former trainer, carries significant weight. When someone with his experience admits to being speechless at a knockout, it underscores just how shocking the result was. Tibbs' reaction encapsulated what many fans felt watching Itauma dismantle Whyte in the very first round. This was not the expected outcome. Whyte was supposed to provide a stern test, a measuring stick for Itauma's progress. Instead, the fight became a showcase of Itauma's raw power and killer instinct. For a trainer as seasoned as Tibbs to publicly acknowledge the impact of the knockout is a rare and honest moment in the sport, further validating Itauma's standing as one of boxing's brightest young stars.
Speechless, really, mate. It was what we all expected, really. Was hoping we could get 4 or 5 rounds out, see where Moses was at, but he's that good. He's that good. I thought Dillian shaped up well. I thought he was in fantastic nick. But when you're at your twilight years and you're working on your weight, etc., it's taxing. It's taxing on yourself. And I'm pretty sure he had to make some pains. I'm not judging him, but you know, he's trained in a hell of a lot of training camps, and he's very, very diligent in his training. But it just, you know, it's like grandfather time for him, if you get me. So it was a difficult task, and we all knew that anyway. But it shows that Moses is been emotionally tested, and obviously not. He's still got to be built physically. Still got to be built physically against someone that's going to give him rounds. So there's the problem. He's that good. He's a phenomenal mover for a heavyweight. Phenomenal. Carries his power with his movement for a heavyweight, and the shot selection he threw yesterday was, you know, what you'd expect from someone of a high intelligent fighter like him. So yeah, credit to Moses, done a fantastic job, and I wasn't surprised.
Was it tough for you to watch a bit? I mean, you've worked with Dillian for years. You know, you've had really good wins with him and good fights with him. Was it tough to see that version last night?
Well, you know what? I know Dillian's mindset and what a dog he is, and with respect, you know, when I use that term dog, he's a real G. He's a real dog.
While many celebrated Itauma's victory, Sam Jones offered a more measured perspective. He argued that the fight did not provide the answers some observers were seeking about Itauma's chin, stamina, or resilience in deeper rounds. The contest ended too quickly to reveal how Itauma might handle sustained pressure or adversity. From this point of view, the Dillian Whyte fight, while spectacular, left analysts with the same questions they had before it. This perspective is important because it tempers the hype with realism. Greatness is not proven in a single fight, no matter how impressive. Itauma's future challenges will need to address these lingering questions, but what cannot be denied is that he has positioned himself as the man to watch in the heavyweight division.
It's like he didn't take away, it doesn't really ask the questions. We don't know anything new about Moses. We know he's special. We know he's fast. We know he can punch. We know he's just, he looks the real deal, doesn't he? But it didn't answer any questions. It was pretty much one of the easiest fights of his career, if not the easiest fight of his career last night.
Were you disappointed in Dillian's performance at all?
No, because look, he's 37, 38. I mean, I tweeted on the ring walk, he don't look at the races. There was no wolf howl. There was no, like, you know what I mean? Dillian's aggressive. Dillian's an aggressive guy. Like, I've not felt that. I felt like it's been a fed up Dillian. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was not the Dillian Whyte we're used to seeing. But look, it's hard because you don't want to downplay Moses' performance, because look, Moses has to go in there and beat who's put in front of him. The matchmaking was perfect. It's a great scalp. He's 20 years old. Deserves all the credit in the world. But again, we have to judge on what we saw on Dillian's side, and he wasn't at the races.
We're hearing that he went into the ring with a possible injury. Is there any that you heard on your end?
Yeah, I've heard it all week. But look.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.